This is the Big Idea podcast by the National Association of Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. My name is Ron Wills. I'm the founder and president of the National Association of Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. And today's guest is Jim Muehlhausen, author of several books, one of which we're going to be talking about today, and also the founder of CEO Focus, a nationwide CEO peer group. Jim, welcome. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ron. Glad to be here. So I'm one of those annoying lifetime entrepreneurs. I don't know if I started when I was 8 or 18, but have owned a variety of businesses and got involved in peer groups when I owned a manufacturing company that was in the automotive remanufacturing business and kind of got hooked on that plan. But through the course of creating my groups here in Indianapolis, I've done 11,000 coaching sessions with business owners. And, one of the things that I learned through that process was that I screwed up selling my first business. I went to law school and realized after a semester of law school, I was never going to be a lawyer, but I didn't have the guts to quit. So I did finish law school, pass the bar, all of that, but I had a pretty nice business with multiple Meineke stores. I was a Meineke franchisee doing that. But then eventually, after law school was over and it wasn't a hobby anymore, I was like, I don't know that I want to wear this blue polyester uniform the rest of my life. So I sold them for nowhere near what they were worth. And one of the premises of this Half Retire book that we're talking about is that the income stream that your business creates is significantly more valuable than what you will probably be able to sell your business for. In fact, I just ran some numbers on a business that makes $300,000, and a lot of businesses sell for a 3 multiple, and you're going to net under $1 million for that $3 million income stream. But if you go buy an annuity that yielded $300,000, it's going to cost you $6 million.
Yeah.
So you're giving up a $6 million income stream or a $6 million annuity for under $1 million. Why? Because you're sick of the business. And there's an old saying, people don't sell businesses for money. They sell them because they're frustrated. And that's what I was.
This book, and let me put the book up on the screen so people can see it. It's called Half Retire, Keep Your Business, Ditch the Stress. So first of all, you got every business owner I know interested in this. This is the concept perfect for today. Couple of reasons. One is we have this aging baby boomer population who have built these amazing companies over 20 or 30 years, and they're looking to exit. And so what do most people think of? I'm going to sell the company and I'm going to get $10 million for it. Well, the first thing they do, they go out there and they start looking for that 10 million buyer, and they find out it's $1.5 million, it's $2 million for the company. And you think, all those years that I put into my company, and this is all it's worth. So you've got this huge supply of businesses that are going to become available for sale, and you're getting prices that, for the most part, aren't going to give you the returns like you were just talking about. So given that environment, this is the right book for the right time. So just, you're thinking, when did you decide I got to write this book?
I actually was trying to figure out where I had the germination for this idea. And of course, it all came from clients. It's like I've written 3 books. I always say that what the clients do for me is that they give me 400 pieces of a 500-piece puzzle. I got to come up with the other pieces and put it together in a cohesive format. But most of the stuff in the book isn't, Jim locked himself in a room and thought of these great ideas. No, this is real world stuff from real world business owners, but it's not a system. I mean, there's a 6-step half retire process that I came up with to make it a formula, right? So do this, and then sub steps. And it's a fairly robust process that you can follow step by step to go from where you're at to half retirement. But what I found was, and what I started seeing with business owners was 3 things. One is the one we're talking about, where basically the business is unsellable. And I don't mean no one will buy it. I mean, you're not going to sell it. Wait a minute. You mean I'm going to have $800,000. I'm going to go try to make 10% on that. Good luck on that. But that's only 80 grand. I'm making 300 now. Honey, how much of our lifestyle do you want to cut? Surprisingly, she says nothing.
Yeah.
And now you go, well, this doesn't work. And then what I saw that was really sad was people putting their blinders on and pretending that they weren't aging. You don't want to know how many 70-year-olds I've talked to that are traveling 6 days a week, because they make a great income and they don't want to cut their lifestyle.
Right.
That's just unacceptable. We're smarter than that. And that's what Half Retire is designed to do, is to get you working as little as 2 half days a week, but maintaining that income that you have.
You just made a really important point, and that is there are of so many business owners getting into the upper 60s into early 70s still working. And when you think about what you just said, they're working because they got to maintain their lifestyle. And you know what? They haven't gotten their price for their business. So they just keep working, maybe hoping one day they get the right price for their business, but without a strategy. Do you, I think it's very good. I mean, it really, I can picture so many of the business owners that I know in our community that would fall into that category, and they just keep working and working. This is a little different though. This is where you keep interest in your company, but you're not doing all the work like you've been doing for the last 20 or 30 years. How do you tell us a little bit about that process?
All right. So I should have brought my Jenga board. Have you ever played the game Jenga
Sure.
with the wood pieces? So Jenga is a game where you stack these wood pieces and you have to push a piece out and then stack it on top. And eventually the tower gets up and whoever topples it loses. Okay. Well, if you played Jenga, and this is step 3 of the 6 steps, by the way, in the Half Retire process, we literally call it the Jenga step, is you ever pushed on a piece on the Jenga thing and the whole tower spins on you and you almost like push it across the table because that son of a gun is stuck. That piece is stuck. And you know what we call that piece? You. That piece is the business owner. It is stuck. You try to push that piece out of the system and the whole tower topples. And we've all felt that way. You go on vacation and stuff goes wrong. You leave for an afternoon and you go, what? I can't leave for an afternoon without stuff going wrong? Well, that's the Jenga problem. But if you play Jenga, you ever notice that you move this piece out and then you move this piece out and other people play and you go back to that piece that was really stuck and you push on it now, and now it's loose because you shifted the weight around. You've made adjustments, and now that piece that couldn't be removed can be removed. That's what we do at Half Retire. We get your Jenga piece unstuck, and it's a complicated process, but it can be done. We broke it down. We have tricks and systems that we use in order to do it. And in fact, one of my favorite systems is we ban the word delegation in Half Retire, because it is misused. What business owners mean by delegation is, I'm not going to do this anymore, you do it. And if we had a poll of 10,000 business owners and said, have you tried to do that before? They all would say, yes, I have tried to give someone else some work. And then you ask, did it work? And the answer is no, it never works. And some would say it's because that's abdication, but it's not. It's because their work is undelegable. Every business owner has this big hairball of work that's just big knot of 50 different things knotted together that I just can't hand you a hairball and say, hey, Ron, you're a smart guy. Do this mess that I call my job. You have to untangle the hairball. So we call it offloading, not delegating.
Gotcha.
And we do it in a fractional sense. There is a portion of your work that we call your Picasso work, that special genius that you bring to the business that cannot be delegated. That's why you need to be there 2 half days a week to do that Picasso work that only can be the artist touching the brush to the canvas. No one else can do that and have $1 million painting. You're the Picasso of your business, I'm the Picasso of mine. The trick is, how do we get rid of all the other crap in that hairball, get it down to the Picasso work that will free you from being locked in your office?
So what's in time frame? What's the range? There's never just one time frame I've noticed working with business owners. Sometimes it's years to get a breakthrough, and you have to have patience of Job to get to that point in time. But what would you say? A business owner now, let's say they're in their early 60s, but kind of looking ahead. They feel good, they feel healthy, but they want that. They don't want to be at their business every day of the week. They want to be able to take a month vacation, or maybe longer, but come back to a company that's still running and running really well. What would you say would be the, you know, for people to understand, but how much time would it take to kind of get to
I'm
those?
going to give you the answer you don't want, which is it depends
Depends. Yeah.
answer. But I'm going to give you a range because there is no average.
Right.
Okay. I mean, we've got a client that owns a one-person traffic consulting company. Okay. Well, there's no one to offload the work to,
Right.
which again, that's not, you know what people forget? Uh, True or false? Is it free to delegate work?
Is it free to delegate
Is
work?
it free to delegate work? Does it cost zero?
No.
Right. It doesn't cost zero.
Yeah.
But you've worked with a lot of business owners.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you ever met a business owner that goes, what does it cost me to delegate this work? They ever do that?
Yeah.
No,
No,
because
no.
they don't want to go stroke a $30,000 check to delegate that work. And I'm a business owner too. I'm cheap. I don't want to pay 30 grand to delegate that work. So we don't build delegation in. We do it through systems. We do it through a process we call Fever. There's ways to get that work offloaded that don't cost hiring an employee to do it,
Yeah.
or other ways that cost money, because that's a cut in your pay. If I'm taking 300 grand from my business and I want to pay to delegate, I'm now making 270 instead of 300, and that's not acceptable. No pay cuts. You got to do it with, you got to do more with less, and there's a way to do it. There's a system to do that. That makes sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is exciting stuff, and I would say, this is just anecdotal, but the business owners that are in the NABOE community and in the Washington, D.C. community, I'd say there's a large 40% or so that are baby boomers. I mean, it's a large number. Now you're seeing this great entrepreneurship coming up from younger people today, and that's wonderful to see. But there's this block moving towards retirement, and many just don't have a plan. I talked to a gentleman the other day. He was 80 years old, and he's looking for an escape from his company. And he's doing exactly what you talked about. He keeps working because he can't give up the lifestyle. But the poor guy is working, 5 to 6 days a week, long hours, trying to keep the company going. And, just taking this process that you have would be something that would help him move towards a much more relaxing world for him, and where he can come in and do that top 2% of the work that needs to be done, the vision, the strategies, and so forth. But the other people in the company handle really all the day-to-day work of the company.
Yeah, we call that moving from hard-earned income to equity income. So I own some shares of Coca-Cola, and this is really going to surprise you, okay? So with these shares that I have bought at Coca-Cola, that's my equity, right? And every quarter, they send me money for my ownership in that company, and I have yet to have to show up in Atlanta. I haven't had to work one single day
Yeah.
to get my equity return in that business. And this is a problem for a lot of business owners. And I've certainly been there myself, that we're not paid for our equity in the business. We're not paid for our ownership. We're paid for our hard work. And if we stop working hard, we stop making money. And that's the process that needs to happen, right? The beautiful part is, if you take a business where the owner is an integral gear in the business, much harder to sell, much lower multiple, much less attractive and valuable business. Now you take a business where the owner is not that vital gear, you get a higher multiple, the business is more valuable, and it's easier to sell. So, the unanticipated benefit of half retirement is that not only does it add an average of $1.28 million to the average half retiree's wealth, it also, and we don't even count the increase in value of the business, because that could be another $1 million.
That's really, it's an amazing point. They don't realize that in the long term, by working less, just smarter, you're working smarter, but by working less, they've got the cash flow. They're not killing themselves. They're enjoying life. They still keep up their lifestyle. And in the long term, they're building more value in the company. So it really, truly is a win-win for them. And it's exciting. So that's why I tell you, I love this concept. I think it is the perfect book for today's world, for the small business owner. I wanted to I wanted to thank you for being here today. This has been a lot of fun. Congratulations on your terrific work and your wonderful books that you've put out. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Ron.